And so, look, for our audience, we're going to hop into the next section of our program, and so we're going to pivot over into the insurance scene. And so, what I'm going to do is introduce and hand over to my colleague Keith Lee, who's corporate partnerships manager here in the Plug and Play Silicon Valley office. Hey, Keith, nice to
Hey,
see
how
you.
you doing?
Good, mate. Very good. I was sad to have to end my session. That was really interesting. So, but look, over to you to discuss latest trends on insurance. So I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Simon, and thank you for leading that section for us. And I hope the panel is just as worthwhile for everybody listening. So good afternoon and good morning to everybody who has tuned in. As Simon mentioned, my name is Keith. I'm a corporate partnerships manager here at Plug and Play in Silicon Valley, and I've been closely working with our team on our Korea initiatives, trying to launch a location in Seoul in the near future. So it is my pleasure and honor to introduce the panel that you see before you, and we're just going to discuss a few trends and initiatives regarding startups and innovation, digital transformation in the insurance industry across Asia. So you'll see before you, I would like to introduce Dr. Tre Nak-chun, Chief Digital Officer at KB Insurance, Kyu-wan Chung, Senior Vice President, Digital Strategy Division at Hyundai Insurance, Jason Kim, General Manager and Head of Overseas Business Strategy at Samsung Fire and Marine Insurance, and Tiffany Wong, Partner at MSNED Ventures. Thank you all for making the time to attend today. And I
Thank
just
you.
want to
Can
make
you?
sure that, yep.
Okay.
Tiffany, I see you. Q1, Jason, I see you as well. I just want to make sure we have Dr. Tre on the line as well. I believe he is.
Yeah, actually I'm here, but I cannot activate the video. It tells that the host should activate it.
Oh, sure. I think our host can do that for you. So what we're going to do is I've got a few common questions for each of you. And I'm hoping that we can go in order that we saw on the slide. So Dr. Tre, Yuan, Jason, and then Tiffany. And then I'll be asking each of you, I think, 2 questions, each a little bit more detailed about your company's initiatives. I'll close with one more common question across the board and see how we're doing on time. So to open up, I wanted to ask just for a brief introduction regarding yourself and your company and your vision, I guess, for digital transformation for the time being. So Dr. Tre, if you want to kick us off.
Yeah, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. Actually, I'm expecting that everyone is watching from all around the world. So first of all, before I start introducing myself and my organization, I want to give the huge congratulations to Plug and Play to start the business in Seoul. Actually, I'm really excited and then looking forward to bring a new wave in venture capital industry in Korea. So I hope you can start smoothly and then we can contribute for your big start. Let me start by introducing myself. I'm a Chief Digital Officer in KB P&C Insurance Company. I just joined 6 months ago as a CDO, so it's pretty new here in this office, in this organization. Basically, I'm an economist. I majored in health economics in US PhD program. So my background is healthcare and also economics. So for the last 10 years in Korean insurance industry, I work on health insurance and healthcare to develop a new business and also bring some new value to our customers. That's what I learned. You know what, because I just joined the KB, when it comes to the organization introduction, I'm going to rely on my script, so please excuse me. So KB Insurance is one of the leading non-life insurance company founded in 1965, that's 1959, which means for the last 60 years, it has fulfilled its mission to make happier life for our customers and a better world. Those words are the mission. The KB PNC just joined the KB Financial Group 5 years ago, and it became a subsidiary of one of the largest financial group in Korea, which is covering the bank, insurance, and investment, and also the card service, and also has the largest number of customers, which is almost 70% of the whole population. So the whole financial group is supporting our customers' life is better in terms of human capital accumulation, the real estate accumulation, also the financial asset accumulation. That's the KB Insurance and KB Financial Group.
Great, thank you. Kyuan, would you like to make a brief introduction?
Nice to meet you. Hyundai Insurance is one of the top non-life insurer in Korea. We have 17% of market share with 9 million customers. Moreover, we have 12,000 individual agents as well as 10,000 employees, including subsidiary companies. When it comes to the vision of digital transformation, there are two main keywords: efficiency and growth. Efficiency means to maximize the company's profit by reducing costs with digital technology. And growth means to strengthen market competitiveness in online channels through our company's digital platform and our digital partners.
Great, thank you. Jason, you're up.
Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. Most of all, I'm very happy to take this opportunity to introduce our company and the vision of digitization. There are so many good insurance companies in Korea, such as KB and Hyundai or something. Among them, Samsung Fire Marine Insurance is the largest insurance company in Korea with 10 million customers. We not only the rank #1 place in the non-life insurance sector, but also continuously strengthening market dominance in all sectors of revenue and profits. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, Tiffany, would you tell us a little bit about yourself and your company?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm with MS&AD Ventures. MS&AD Groups, well, MS&AD stands for Mitsui Sumitomo Iowa Nisei Dowa. It's a very large Japanese holdings company, primarily focused on insurance. We have presence in about 47 different countries. I'm from the ventures arm. It's a $120 million early stage fund. So mainly focused on seed and A. Our typical check size would be $500K to about $2 million. We've been around since October 2018, and we're in about 35 deals so far. We invest in a pretty wide range of things: insurtech, fintech, mobility, impact, and digital health.
Excellent, thank you. For my next couple of questions, I'll be asking some of you individually just to learn more about the initiatives at your company. Dr. Choi, back to you. I wanted to ask, as a leader of digital transformation in KB Insurance, what is the biggest challenge of your organization, and how would you solve that issue through co-working with startups?
Actually, Mark, the question is very hard because it's very hard to define the digital transformation. When I just joined as a CTO in KB P&C insurance company, everyone has a different notion or definition about the digital transformation. As you can imagine, most of people are confused with the digitization or digitalization. So that was the biggest part when I started. But let me, before talking about the startups, how we work with the startups, I'm gonna make it clear that how we should define the digital transformation. You know what? Most of people are thinking about the technology, AI, cloud, or the machine learning, but we have to think about where it's coming from the digital transformation. Actually, it's coming from the people. It's not coming from the technology itself. In that sense, we have to rely on, we have to think about the culture itself. So here in KB P&C, I'm more focusing on the culture, how we work and how we co-work, and also how we're gonna change fast and how we're gonna co-work with other small enterprise and with some agile condition. So that's the sort of the idea we are thinking about the digital transformation. But it should has some purpose or some target when we talk about the digital transformation. You know what, when we think about the digital transformation, most of the time we're thinking about the operational efficacy. But now we are moving on a little bit further, and we are talking about the new customer experience. How are we going to change the experience, especially if you think about the pandemic situation we are facing through the whole world, without contacting, without knowing our customers, how are we going to let them experience the whole process through the purchasing and the management in every process? How are we going to let them do their own job in digitally? That's the another aspect we are focusing on. The last three, we are focusing on the new business. I mean, building up some new business. That's the essence of digital transformation. Especially when it comes to the startups, we co-work to build up the new business. You know, when it comes to new business such as the digital healthcare and or the my data, the new business, we cannot build up the process. We cannot build up the every aspects alone. So we have to adopt, we have to accept some new idea or some new technology developed or some introduced by the startups. So we mostly co-work with the startups to build some new business. That's what the KBPNC is doing.
Thank you. Yeah, and you touch on some really important points. You know, when you talk about digital transformation and innovation, startups are not the only solution, right? It's not a silver bullet to suddenly make your company more innovative. And there has to be a deep cultural change throughout the company to make it something more sustainable. You touched upon the fact that you are an economist as well. And we wanted to ask about a more specific technology. So what are your thoughts on cloud technology and how it will affect the insurance industry?
As I told you, I'm an economist. I'm not a tech guy. So in this sense, I'm not an expert in the cloud. That's my frank confess. But in an easy sentence, I would say the cloud was the container of data. That was the starting point, I think. But recently, I found that the cloud is not just a container of data. It just became the carrier of new technology. So when we put some data in the cloud, there is some additional software like AI or machine learning. So combining the hardware as a data container, the cloud is evolving also as a carrier of software. We can combine the hardware and software together to solve the technical problem. So that's what I observed. But when it comes to, as an economist, what I'm observing recently, it's a little bit different. You know, actually, even though we have a huge company who can support our fixed cost alone, but I found that without the help of cloud, such as some very important feature who can reduce the fixed cost of every enterprise, we cannot survive. I mean, recently we are observing most of the company, many of the company actually are facing some hard status in their financial status as a marginal company because their fixed cost is very high and the revenue is decreasing dramatically because of the COVID-19. So I'm realizing that actually as economists, how are we going to control the fixed cost? That's very critical to survive in a very critical situation. So I would say, not just as a technical carrier, the cloud is becoming a very important factor to support or to survive in a very critical economic situation. That's what I'm thinking as an economist.
Excellent, thank you. So next, Kyuwon, I would like to ask you a few questions regarding Hyundai Insurance. So first off, a more simple question to start. What are the short-term challenges in your industry that you think will be first solved by startups? So say in the next 1 to 3 years, what are the challenges you think startups will help solve?
It would be helpful to understand the value chain of insurance company. The value chains of insurance company consist of 4 main parts: sales, underwriting, claims, and customer service. Underwriting, claims, and customer service can be categorized on inefficient tasks that involve people's endless effort. I want to improve our companies work efficiently in the field through the digital technology that the startup has. Nowadays, startups with AI and data analytics are making many changes in insurance industry. I'm positive that our company is already making a number of achievements through collaboration with companies that have business automation technology, such as OCR, RPA, which stands for Robotic Process Automation, and ST, which stands for Speech to Text. Furthermore, I also want to create opportunity to sell our product to a startup platform that has large number of users. In fact, our company currently has various partnerships with startups that have a large number of users, including mobility and healthcare, as well as fintech.
Excellent, thank you. So as a follow-up to that, what are the sectors that Hyundai Insurance is planning to invest in going into 2020 and 2021? We see that insurance companies are not only investing in InsurTech, they are looking all across the board, including mobility, sharing economy, supply chain, energy. So what industries are you looking to invest in? And could you share a little bit on why?
Until now, digital organization of Hyundai Insurance has only worked with startup without investment. There will be a first official announcement stating that from now on, digital organization is planning to directly invest in startup. So far, the stability of the asset management of insurance companies has been considered as the most important part. As original, this stance will be continued, but each time to utilize investment to develop a digital business model for future new growth. As mentioned earlier, our investment sectors will be mobility, healthcare, fintech, and business automation technology companies. However, if a startup can create value for the company's growth and efficiency, we are willing to invest in the field.
Thank you. And one more question for you. So we've learned that Hyundai Insurance partners across multiple industries, not just with startups, but with major corporations. So from what we've heard, you have a partnership with companies like SK and Kakao. So would you mind sharing a little bit on what is the purpose of these collaborations and how do you expect this to impact your industry as you work across industry like this?
As you know, many digital companies are breaking the boundaries of business. And I think in the future, the meaning of the cross-industry will be weakened. The core value of digital is connect. The comparative of the digital business is to provide better value to customers through collaboration with a variety of external players. Without cooperation with the external players, it is impossible for an insurance company to provide better value to its customer. For example, through Korean search platform Naver, we can create a channel where our customers are curious about. At the same time, our company can reduce cost and enhance customer convenience by sending previously mailed message via KakaoTalk or Korea Messenger platform. Besides, you will soon be able to meet the specific outcome of many collaborations we are working on with our digital partners.
Thank you. I think it does touch on what Dr. Treb mentioned earlier, in that you don't only need to partner with startups for assistance in digital transformation. Working with established companies can be a really big help for that as well. Of course, ideally, all the corporations we are working with would be working towards a combination of all of these. So we're very excited to see the results of your new partnerships. Up next, Jason would like to ask you a few questions as well. So thank you, Kyuan. We'll have more questions for you later as well. So Jason, we've heard that Samsung Insurance raised a $40 million CVC fund, and it is, I believe, the first CVC fund for an insurance company in Korea. So could you tell us a little bit about the purpose of the CVC fund, how you have been operating this project, and in which sector you're looking to invest in for 2020 and 2021?
Okay, I'm going to tell you about the CVC fund. First of all, the purpose of CVC fund establishment. SFMI set up the CVC fund to prepare for future changes in insurance sector. Rather than seeking short-term business performance, we aspire to secure innovative business models and technologies to preoccupy new business and customers. Also, in general, keeping track of external environmental changes is very difficult for my colleagues because too many routine works. So it plays a role through CVC fund. People say about the operation CVC fund. I'm gonna say about the vision of digitization. It is divided into 3 categories. First, promote the digitization of the contact point at all customers, and increase work efficiency by AI application. And finally, enhancing future competitiveness through collaboration with various industries such as the fintech or techfin and healthcare. So far, we progressed the 8 cases of 25 million investment. The 3 healthcare sector, 3 platform business, and 1 process innovation. Most companies are located in Korea, so you don't know the name, but the 2 overseas investment we have. One is Noom, which is the US healthcare platform, and another is the 91 Health in China, which is kind of the telemedicine or teledoctor or something, such as the Good Doctor, operated by Ping An Insurance in China. Finally, we are constantly looking at the process innovation and platform companies for future investment opportunities. We also plan to expand our portfolio to various fields that can be connected to long-term auto and commercial insurance product, but through discussion with our business units.
Thank you. Yeah, especially now, telemedicine, of course, has gained a lot of popularity. So it's what would normally be a transition over time in implementing new technology seems like it's going to be, well, that timeline is going to be much shorter. But in regards to that timeline, and I'm sure your thoughts have changed, I wanted to ask, so what are some of the long-term challenges that you think startups might be able to help solve for the insurance industry? So not something that would be solved right away, but maybe by working with startups, what are some bigger problems that insurance companies can solve maybe 5+ years down the line?
What you asked is the same situation, and global all insurance companies face the same problems. Various techfin or fintech companies emerged as disruptors, like the Kakao and Naver in Korea. They are trying to get into the finance market through various the customer accessibility and its convenience. Samsung Fire Marine has tried to do our best to respond to this. Normally, the insurer will continuously need to cooperate with the startup that improve the customer's journey related to insurance. For the first time, we think that the InsurTech or the techfin companies are the enemy, but we changed our mind and our thought. They have to be our partner, good partner, in order to survive together.
Excellent, thank you. And finally, Tiffany, would like to ask you a few questions as well. So a bit of a two-part question here. So first, we wanted to ask similarly, what are some of the sectors that you were looking to invest in 2020, 2021, be that insurtech, mobility, energy, what have you. And recently, of course, has COVID-19 influenced your strategy moving forward? And has COVID-19 changed what you plan on looking at in terms of investments?
Sure. So maybe I can explain how my firm is structured. So we have a couple of folks on the investment side, and then we have a couple of folks on the business development side. The business development side focuses on looking for new technologies to push into our various business units, and they tend to be on a later stage. So we won't touch that from an investment perspective. The venture arm, what we focus on, sort of brand new business categories. InsurTech is just a small portion of what we look at. We also care about fintech, mobility, AI, impact, digital health as well. So we're looking at a pretty broad range of things. The main mandate that we have is there's eventually some dotted line back into insurance. During the COVID-19, when everything hit in March, the ventures team sort of dropped everything, and we paused on looking at new deals. And we were working just like every other VC firm, focused on making sure that our companies are stable and have 12 to 18 months runway. And then since then, we just sort of went back to work, and we've closed 3 deals between March and July. So we're still fairly active. In terms of the categories, I don't think it has changed that much, but we do have this expectation for the CEO and founders to address what's going to happen, because we don't know what's going to happen a year or two from now. But as long as they have a succinct, interesting plan, or how they're tackling this uncertainty.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's also great to hear that you guys are active again in terms of closing deals, because I know a lot of investors and a lot of startups were very nervous about how COVID would affect the potential of closing new rounds, because it'll be much harder to meet in person and have these discussions. And people get a little bit more nervous about putting money into certain ventures. So it's great to hear that you guys are still very active. Plug and Play, we largely focus specifically on corporate and startup engagement. So I wanted to ask you if you have an example of startup corporate collaboration and investment that you think serves as a strong success case that you would like to share, that you think stands out to you.
Yeah, sure. So we actually just had 2 announcements in the last couple of days. I think Socotra, which is an insurance infrastructure company, they just signed to work together with MS&AD. So that's an example. And the other one is Jupiter Intelligence. They're a climate data company, and we also just signed to work together. So even though some of the companies are a little bit on the younger side, I think COVID-19 has accelerated the desire for actually a lot of insurance companies to partner together.
Great, thank you. And I think we have about 10 minutes left, maybe a little less. So I wanted to touch on one more general question for each of you. So like earlier, I'll start with Dr. Choi and finish with Tiffany. So it's been brought up earlier that, of course, CVCs, venture capital from corporate initiatives, your only goal is not simply the result on the balance sheet, but a greater social good, right? So what is the social responsibility of the corporations in this way? So we wanted to ask and understand from the view of a nonprofit and public welfare sector, what are you trying to do to improve people's welfare? And how does the ultimate goal of digital innovation fulfill these social responsibilities to customers? So Dr. Choi, can we start with you again?
Yep. So, actually, as a for-profit company, it's an obligation, and also it's the hardest part to achieve the sort of CSR obligation, or the recently it's known the ESG. Frankly speaking, every time when we think about the ESG or CSR, most of the time we got the challenge how we can use the money in a better way, right? I mean, we can donate, or we can just build up some better business. So from the start, most of the company are starting from sort of a donation. That was very easy and simple way. We don't need to input any human resource when we just donate, right? But now we are thinking about the new business. To build up, to develop a new business, which will be a good social impact. What kind of business we have to build, and what we should provide to our society to become a founder of a new business. So mainly the KB, the whole insurance group, the financial group actually recently dedicated to huge investment on the digital healthcare platform. So unluckily, and also unfortunately, the Korea didn't have any digital healthcare platform until now. Most of the healthcare we have here in Korea is just a solution. It never been a platform. When it comes to platform, I'm thinking of the sort of the IT architecture, which will cover the fixed cost for startups and also small enterprise. So most of the healthcare, the startups or the SME, they're very small. Even though they got some huge investment in the Series A, Series B, they cannot invest on the foundation, such as the server or data architecture or some analytics. So I think that the thing we need here in Korea to have a better life for our next generation, we have to build a digital healthcare platform which will cover some sort of fixed cost for the small enterprise. That's the sort of the ESG we are doing right now.
Thank you. Yeah, the digital infrastructure is turning into a major challenge for a lot of these industries across many regions, because it's going to be a huge investment. And how do you make sure you're the first one to reap the benefits from that investment? But of course, we do want to see that the corporates are properly incentivized to make these investments, so that the average person living in that country will see more of those benefits. So thank you, Dr. Choi. Kyuan, you're up next. Same question. So can you tell us a little bit about the social responsibility that comes with digital innovation at your company?
There are an increasing number of startups that make social values and impact. Their business items have many services that improve people's quality of life, such as health and education. I think there is a point of contact with insurance in a way. The business of insurance itself has the nature of CSR, because it is a business that protects people and society from uncertain future risks. Therefore, insurance companies and social ventures have areas to work together. So we will increase business partnership and investment with social startups. I think that's the direction of our digital innovation in terms of social responsibility. I hope really to hope for opportunity to cooperate with many comparative startups in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. And you do raise a good point that insurance at its core is supposed to be for social benefit, to help people mitigate risk that they might face in their own individual lives. I don't know what it's like internationally. I'm not as familiar, but I had a conversation with some American insurance companies that it's unfortunate that although initially insurance was designed to be a social support system to help people mitigate risk, insurance companies in America are not very popular. The overall NPR score is low. The overall satisfaction is not great. So customer engagement and customer satisfaction has been a huge point for digital transformation for insurance companies in America, just so that they can start serving their customers better. And that in and of itself will turn into a huge social benefit. So Jason, of course, you're up next. Same question. What can you tell us a little bit from your end?
Okay, from Samsung Group perspective, we are engaged in various social contribution projects. Especially the Samsung Fire Marine is focused on the training and donating guide dogs for the visually impaired, or the improving school environments for the children and providing insurance for low-income families. And as we have experienced in this pandemic environment, it is important to ensure all citizens, including who are in medical blind spots, to have an economic safety net. So Samsung Fire Marine believes that as an insurance company, we can fulfill the social responsibilities by expanding customer contact points and improving convenience through digital innovation.
Thank you. Yeah, there are a lot of blind spots that technologies will overlook, and we want to make sure we don't do that. And I'm glad that you shared some non-technology examples as well, because ultimately, software and startups, I've said this many times now, is not the cure-all solution that is going to solve all the problems. You might want some more traditional approaches as well. And finally, Tiffany, could you share us a little bit on your company's approach in terms of social responsibility and innovation?
Absolutely. So, sustainability and impact is part of the core value for MS&AD Group. And how MS&AD Ventures is supporting that is that we actually make investments in impact-related companies. So we have 3 or 4, and I can highlight a couple of them. We have Tomorrow.me. They're it's a financial planning tool for millennials, and they give a will completely for free. And so the idea is in the past, you have to be sort of wealthy to hire a lawyer to get a will built out. But now, giving this away for free will help people who don't have a lot of money to start planning for the future earlier on. How they make money is eventually selling insurance and financial products, but the core product it does not cost any money. Another investment we've made is a challenger bank called Good Money. So they've optimized the cost and made it lower cost to provide banking services. Instead of giving the savings back in cash to the customer, they'll give shares of the actual company to the end user, which helps them build up wealth, which traditionally, if you're not very wealthy, you're not going to go and invest in stocks. And then we recently closed another investment called IX Investments, and they're actually an impact platform. And so they invest in a couple of different categories, including, removing carbon from the environment, to insurance, to real estate. So it's a very wide range of things. And so MS&AD Ventures, it's part of there's 3 partners, and all 3 of us really care about impact, and it's part of our core value system. So we help, we're the eyes and ears for MS&AD Group to keep watch of the latest trends in this space.
Thank you, Tiffany. Yeah, and I like that you touched on a few examples where you're taking services that are normally for who we consider wealthy or who only will have limited access, and trying to increase the amount of access so that more people can have opportunities to receive these kind of services that traditionally people with how should I put this, with traditionally people would not be able to have access to unless they had a much higher amount of wealth. I did not phrase that well, but I hope my point got across. So I'm going to wrap it up there. It does feel unfortunate because I feel like everybody touched on different points in the industry, just sort of starting to reveal how much is happening and how much can still happen moving forward. But with that, I'm going to thank all of our panelists. So thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to further engaging with you in the future. And with that, I'm going to pass it back to my colleague, Simon. Thank you, everybody.